The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Livingston, Montana, on your new apparatus, job number 30616. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start with the front bumper. On the passenger side, you have an electronic siren located in the bumper. Just to the right of that, there are dual right and left air horns. Moving up onto the top of the bumper in the blue tape, you'll see this is a mount for your front discharge, which is controlled from inside the cab. You also have a mechanical siren located on the top, and also a hose storage bin. Moving to the far side, or the driver's side, there is a discharge port here for your front discharge, and also a control valve for that discharge. Let's move up onto the body. On the outer edges, you have two right and left mark turn signals. Inside from that location, you'll find your headlight cluster with the low beams on the outside, high beams on the inside. Moving up from that location, you'll find a right and left turn indicator. Located in the same cluster, an emergency warning light. Let's move up just higher than the front dash area here. You'll find there are 3 windshield wipers across a seamless front windshield. On the outer edges, your mirrors, you have a convex mirror on the top and a flat mirror on the bottom. Move all the way to the very top of the brow of the apparatus. There are 5 running lights in this location. Located in the center, there's a forward-facing fixed floodlight. And at the very top is your full-width light bar. Let's go ahead and move back down to the front area. On the very bottom, you'll find 2 chromed tow hooks. On the side of the bumpers, you'll find warning lights. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of things up here on the top. This is the wire in addition with the discharge port for your automatic front discharge. Close-up view of your mechanical siren. This is the area that your hose is stored inside the tubbed area with a cutout so the hose can run out and be connected to the 1.5-inch discharge port. This is the 1.5-inch discharge port. It is foam capable. There is also a front control valve. Close up here of the headlights and the turn signal and warning light on the clusters. Let's go ahead and take a general view here of the mirrors. They are adjustable from within inside the cab. As you can see on the bottom, there is a flat portion, and on the very top, there is an adjustable, also convex portion. Close up here of the overhead light bar. We'll now go ahead and take a generalized view of the side of the apparatus. As you can see, all door locks have keyed access. In addition, with grab handles on the side. Let's go ahead and start in the lower left front corner of your apparatus. This is the step area for the operator. As they step into the cab, you'll find a work light or step light, in addition with an air inlet and also a shore power auto eject plug. Have some close-ups of all of the items that we'll talk about throughout the video. Let's take now a close-up look at those. Once again, air inlet on the left. On the right-hand side with the red color, you'll find your auto eject. This is going to be your shore inlet, which is a 20 amp shore inlet. Just underneath this area, you'll find additional perimeter lighting. This is going to be under the cab portion, and this is also your front discharge drain. We'll now go ahead and move to your tire and wheel. These are Goodyear wheels and tires. Correction, tires. Wheels are Alcoa, and in the very center you have a Stemco visual indicator for your hub. Once again, generalized view of the side of your apparatus with the Montana paramedic symbol. Let's go ahead and look just a little higher than this location at the very top of the apparatus. You're going to find a variety of different things, but in this location just behind the front door and above that midsection door, you'll find a side illuminating light. On the back section of this area, you'll find a colorful light that is for your tank, indicating red, blue, yellow, and green, indicating green is full, red empty or nearly empty flashing. Just beneath that area by the door handle, you'll find an emergency warning light near the grab handle. Let's go ahead and move just a little further toward the rear of the apparatus. This is going to be the section where the netting is located. This is where your cross lays will be. We'll talk a little bit about those as we reveal behind the netting to get a closer and more clear image. You'll find in this area at the very top, this is a 2.5-inch discharge port. It's gray in color, which matches the discharge on the actual handle located on the pump panel. At the very center of this location, you'll also find a small tab, which is located here. This lever allows you to access the lowering of the mechanism above, which allows the speed load to be able to be removed from its location for loading and unloading of hose. Just beneath that location on the far left, you'll find an entanglement warning for hose that's attached to the apparatus. And you're also going to find 2 additional cross lays here. And you'll also find that same mechanism latch to release those 2 speed loads. This is number 1 cross lay. It's capable of foam and water, and also your number 2 cross lay. 1 in yellow, 2 is in white, and in the very center, you'll find that latch, which allows you to gain access to pull those speed loads out. Let's start in the lower corner here. This is your apparatus panel. In the lower corner, you'll find discharge for a 2.5-inch. There is also a warning label indicating the removal of caps that could be under pressure. In the very center, you'll find your large diameter intake. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a 3-function intake. This is a foam intake, strainer, and also discharge. Moving down just beneath the center, you'll find an additional 2.5-inch discharge port. Moving all the way to the right is your auxiliary 2.5-inch inlet. Just beneath that location, you'll find these 3 valves and an additional valve above that. We'll talk about those discharge valves in the next set of slides. Once again, this is that auxiliary foam. It has 3 functions. It's an inlet, a strainer, and it also is the foam tank drain. Let's go ahead and look just beneath the large diameter intake, and you'll find the number 3 pump drain, driver's side inlet. These are all going to be drains for those individually color-coded discharges and intakes. Let's go ahead and now move down just beneath the step. You're going to find your front discharge drain located here. This will be a generalized view of the side of your apparatus. We'll talk a little bit about some of the components and what's behind each of those compartment doors. But first, let's start with the very first roll-up door, and that is the one closest to the panel we just discussed. This houses your pump panel, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the configuration that you have selected for your pump. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner. There is an information plaque regarding the use of the apparatus and seeking the information from the owner's manual. I would advise that. When your pump is properly engaged, you'll find this light at the very top illuminated. Down beneath that, you're going to find your tank vision here, which is for your foam tank A. In the center here, you'll find your master intake. Moving just to the right of that location, you'll find your master discharge. Also located in this gray section here, you'll find your 2 test ports for vacuum and pressure. They currently have plugs in those locations. And in the upper right-hand corner, you'll find a yellow illuminating PCM fault. And just beneath that, you'll find the audible alarm that can be adjusted by turning right or left. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner of the next section down.
you're going to find a variety of different levers here. These are all locking levers, and they are clearly identified as to what they are. For example, in the very front, you have your front discharge. Moving from that, you have number 1 discharge. Number 2 is a cross lay. I should say number 1 cross lay, number 2 cross lay, your 2.5-inch cross lay, your driver rear discharge, and then also a passenger rear discharge. So those are your 4 locking valves. Once again, those are all capable of foam, and they are also all clearly identified with locking mechanisms for those positions. To the very far right-hand side, this is going to be your Pierce governor pressure control. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next set of images. In the upper left-hand corner, as the arrow is pointing, you'll find the check engine light if it's illuminated. You'll also find in the center the RPM, which is a digital readout. Moving just to the right, a stop engine light. If it's illuminated, stop your engine immediately. You'll also find just beneath this all of your information regarding your engine apparatus for oil pressure, battery, fuel. Just beneath that, you'll find a water tank, which coincides with the indicator on the side of your apparatus. This is a button for silencing the alarm on this apparatus, and also a menu button to scroll through and select the different menu categories. To the very left, you'll find a pressure control indicator that you're in pressure control mode. You'll also find here a digital readout. Moving to the right, you'll find if you're in RPM or in throttle mode, you'll find this illuminated. Just beneath that in blue, you're going to find your pressure control modes. You also have a light that's illuminated in the center if it's okay to engage the throttle. And to the right in green, you have presets if you choose to set those. And at the very bottom, you'll find your throttle indicated. Let's go back up to either the check or stop engine lights. Of course, if you have anyone occupying a structure in a hazardous area, please be cautious and utilize that appropriately. Let's go ahead and go to the left-hand side, next section panel down. You'll find your tank fill. You're also going to find your tank to pump, and you also find your reel discharge. Just above that reel discharge, you'll also find the reel discharge blowdown or drain. Let's go ahead and move over to the section here that's in red. This is going to be your Pierce Class A foam. This is the control panel for it. And moving to the right, this is the primer for the fire pump. All the way to the very far right, you'll find your deluge discharge. And just beneath that, you'll find 2 electronic Acron valves. This is for the discharge on the opposite side and for the large diameter discharge on the opposite side or passenger side. Let's go ahead and move over and take a look at those individually and close-ups of those each components. Once again, the fire pump and your Class A foam. This gives you the power on, foam prime, the ability to page through and change those pressures. Located the next panel down, you'll find all of your discharge drains, and behind that access door, you'll find foam controls and also your override for your pump. In the upper left-hand corner, this is the mechanism to engage your up or down of your extended gun for your deck gun, and we'll talk about some of these switches here in the next set of images. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner with these switches. You'll find the driver's side scene light, passenger side scene light, driver's side floodlight, passenger side floodlight, the reel rewind for your red line, and also just beneath that you'll find a future location if you choose to for additional switches. Let's go ahead and move to the opposite side. You're going to find this is the location to control your light mast. There is in red an emergency stop. Let's go ahead and look just inside the compartment off of the pump panel. You'll find 2 things that are mounted in this location. The first one in yellow, this is going to be the control for your TFT monitor. And to the right-hand side of this location, you'll find your battery charger, which when you plug into shore power will continually maintain and trickle charge your batteries. Also down in this compartment, you'll find adjustable shelving, but mounted here, you'll find an SCBA holder. Let's go ahead and move to the next set of compartments here, just near the rear tire. In the first compartment in the lower section, you'll find, the upper section, you'll find bottle storage. This is 2 SCBA or bottle storage locations. In the next compartment down, which is smaller, you'll find a blue cap. This is for your DEF tank. This is a 4.5 US gallon tank. And on the opposite side of the tire, you'll find additional bottle storage, 2 spots for 2 additional bottles. And just beneath that, you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel, which is a silver cap. Let's go ahead and take a look at the compartment just above what we just spoke about, and let's go ahead and open this compartment. In this compartment, you're going to find 2 tool boards. These are adjustable front to back. The latch is what opens the first one, which will pull and open to the outward position. When it is open, it will lock into position, and so will board number 2. To release that board, simply look inside on the hinge side of each of those boards. You'll find this latching mechanism. Lift the latching mechanism, which will allow the boards to restore back to their original positions and lock into the channel. You can also see here is the board in its open position also. Same locking mechanism in the very back on the hinge side. Let's go ahead and now look at the next compartment back. Once again, roll-up door, large compartment, and we'll talk about the contents with inside this, the one that says paramedic on the outside. As we look inside this compartment, you'll find at the very top 2 fixed adjustable shelves, meaning that they can be adjusted in a fixed position. And at the very bottom, you'll find a pull-out shelf. The indication here is a black lever to push to release the shelf to pull out, and the same to restore it. This is an image of the rear of the apparatus. Let's get started underneath the apparatus. You can see currently on, there are 2 left and right perimeter lights in this area. And in the very center, you have an attachment point or toe location. Generalized view here of the roll-up door area and the full view of your ladder in the outward or open position. To gain access to this, there are 2 mechanisms. First, there is the mechanism which allows the ladder to pull away from the back of the apparatus. That's the one we're indicating here now. The next one would be the ladder release, which allows the ladder to slide internally down to the ground level. Just up from that location, you'll find a few compartments on both the left and right side. As we look in this compartment, it's a very small door here. In this access door, there is long storage capabilities in this compartment. Just up from this location in the diamond-plated area, you'll find a step light in addition with grab rails on the right and left and an access door. There's also behind this access door additional long storage, which can house a variety of different things, including your rigid suctions. Just beneath that, you're going to find some work lights or rear-facing lights here for flood. And as we look further down, you'll find additional lights, and at the very bottom, you'll find your license plate attachment point, which is also illuminated. Just beneath this location, as we move to the next set of images, we'll find a backup, turn, and stop indicators on those clusters on the right and left. And just beneath that, you'll find 2 switches. First one at the top is your work light. The next one beneath that is the hose bed lights. There are also work lights to illuminate stepping areas for working in this area. This is going to be at the very bottom. Let's go ahead and look at the top of your apparatus, and you'll see that you have in the very center a traffic advisor and a backup camera. Just on the outside left side, you'll see the driver's side rear discharge for water and foam. You'll also find that warning label regarding pressurized caps. On the opposite side, you'll find the passenger rear discharge, water and foam. Let's talk a little bit about the right-hand side of the apparatus. There's a variety of different access doors. Let's first talk about this access door, which is the one just off the side of your hose bed location. When this compartment door is open, you'll find behind it and the very bottom 2 locations for long pull storage or your foam, and at the very top you'll find a folding ladder. Behind this access door, you'll find your manual hydraulic rack instructions and valve assembly. Let's go ahead and take a look inside this compartment. Follow the instructions located on this hand-operated hydraulic rack instructions, and you'll find those controls easily accessible. Those controls or instructions pull down to gain access to the actual mechanism and also the valve. This is the main way that you'll raise and lower your powered equipment rack. There's an on-off switch with an up and down on the lift. At the very top, you can see that the ladder rack is currently in the unlocked and open position here. And let's go ahead and start with looking at the very rear of the apparatus, the center-mounted roll-up door. When this is open, you'll find additional storage at the very bottom with a pull-out shelf, similar to the other side, which has the black lever on the right-hand side of the roller. That's the location of it there. Once that is depressed, it'll allow that shelf to be pulled out in an outward position. Let's go ahead and move around to the side rear section of the apparatus. You can see at the very top there are floodlights in addition with side scene lights. You have your logo and also an additional paramedic logo on this side. Let's talk a little bit about what are the contents behind this roll-up door. First, let's start at the very top. You can see it's similar to the opposite side. You have two adjustable fixed shelves currently, and in the next section down at the bottom you have a roll-out shelf. Let's talk a little bit about this compartment, similar to the other side, except there are no tool racks. This is going to house a adjustable shelf, and you can see on the right hand side there is a shoreline outlet. This outlet is for shoreline power. It is when your vehicle is plugged in to shore power, and it is a 20 amp outlet. Let's talk a little bit about some of the compartments that have similar configurations on the opposite side. Because there are no fuel tanks on this side, you'll find two SCBA bottle storage locations here. And as we move just forward of that location, you'll find additional SCBA bottle storage locations here. There are two behind this access door. Let's go ahead and move down. Just beneath this area, you'll find a marker light or turn indicator for the side, and you'll also find a warning label regarding hot diesel exhaust. Be cautious to where you park your vehicle. The exhaust is extremely hot. Let's move to the large section here just before we get to the midsection of your apparatus. Behind this door, you'll find at the very top a pull-out tilt-down shelf. It has two mechanisms. There is a wire also to make it easier for opening for just one hand, or you can utilize the two outward black latches. When it's in the down position, gains access for easy tool. This is also an adjustable shelf from up and down position. You can see at the very bottom in this compartment, you also have a roll-out shelf here. Same mechanism for rolling the shelf out with the lever. Let's go ahead now and move just forward of this location to the side of the apparatus midship location. The components in this area are virtually the same as they are on the driver's side, but let's break those down. This is identical on both right and left hand side. Behind the netting here, you'll find access for the 2.5 inch cross lay at the very top. You'll find this latch just as you do on the opposite side of the vehicle, and as we move down, you'll find that same latching mechanisms and labels on this side. Also note on this side there is a warning label regarding entanglement with that hose. This is cross lay number 2 and cross lay number 1 in yellow and white. Let's go ahead and now move to the center section. This is the passenger side pump area. Let's start with the upper left hand corner. This will be your strainer. Obviously in the center, large diameter intake. And you'll recall we had two electronic valves on the other side for controls. This is the discharge for that in orange, and just beneath large diameter. Just beneath that section, you'll also find controls for tilting of the cab, which is in the next set of images here to the left. There is a caution label located here for removing the bumper turret before raising the cab. Very important. Just beneath that, you'll find additional drains. They are also clearly labeled. Here's a close-up of that image for the cab lift. There is also a red protected switch for that. These are your strainer, pump drain, large diameter, and number 2 discharges. And you can see there were some overrides on the left-hand side for those electronic valves. This is the front discharge drain. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front cab of your apparatus. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passenger side of the vehicle. Pretty much the same configuration as is on the driver's side. There is a difference. Right turn area for the indicator here, you'll find a bullet style camera side facing. Let's go ahead and look just up above. You'll find that multicolored light currently in its red position, meaning the tank is empty. Just inside the door here of this compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf, and you're also going to find that there is some illumination inside here, and also a shore power outlet here. Once you are connected to shore power, it will energize this outlet. Let's go ahead and move up to the top of the apparatus. Let's talk about some of the compartments on the outer edge. They are all diamond plate covered storage areas with latches. They also have lights on the inside area for visualization at night. Let's also talk about just forward of these in the very center, you'll find your tank for filling of water and also your foam A tank. To the rear, you'll find you have adjustable hose bed slats or dividers. Let's go back up to that center section here. And once again, you'll find on the left-hand side your fill for filling of water, and on the right-hand side your foam A. The difference between them as far as latches is water does not have a latch and your foam tank does have a latch. Looking forward, we're going to see on the left-hand side, this is going to be your hydraulic reservoir for filling for foam. Behind this access panel here, you'll find your ladder rack hydraulic pump. Moving just forward of this location, mounted virtually in the center, you'll find your TFT large diameter discharge or deluge. Remember, there's controls here and there's also controls down below. Once again, this is that foam hydraulic reservoir for your foam pump. And you'll see also you have a red line located here, or booster line. Located toward the front on the front cab, you'll find your night scan. This is also an area that has warning steps on the right and left for stepping in this area. Here's a good image of the night scan here in the center of your apparatus, and perimeter around the outer edge with safety barriers. Also in this area, looking back, you'll find in the center a work light. Let's go ahead and start now with the driver's side. At any access point into any of the person doors, you'll find seatbelt information and warning placards. Let's go ahead and look just inside the front cab. You'll find your auto charger. This is for when you're powered to shore power. Here are those warning labels regarding the tilting and use of seatbelts. There's also your latch. Let's take a look at this label here. This is your Pierce label regarding date of manufacture, job number, VIN number, gross vehicle weight ratings. Has a lot of information in this area, and at the very bottom of that yellow placard, just beneath the VIN, you'll find your fluid capacities, the types of fluids, the amounts of fluid, and what they're for. In the upper left, you'll find an additional warning label regarding diesel exhaust, and just beneath that, a caution label for equipment and to check your service manuals. On the left lower side here, about foot height, foot location, left side, mechanical siren. As we move up above that, you'll find your master battery, your tech module, your ABS, engine and transport diagnostic ports, the ABS, DPF regions, engine diagnostic, and region inhibit, and also a display port. On the actual seat itself, you'll find this yellow latch for the tilting of back and front seat, and also an air ride inflate deflate latch just at the base right hand side. At the right knee area, you'll find your stationary OK to pump while rolling. You'll also find your water pump and foam system switches, and you'll find 3 additional future locations for switches if needed. Let's move up from that location to the left-hand side. You're going to find on the left your ignition and also your start switch. Let's go ahead and move just to the dash cluster, and we'll talk a little bit about the dash and some of the components there. Let's start on the upper left-hand corner. You'll find your transmission, oil, DEF, and water, tachometer and speedometer, your volt, fuel, front and rear air, and then some informational diagnostic displays in the upper and lower sections. Let's now take a look at the left-hand side. The EM button stands for Emergency Master. It's an all-on, all-off button. Next to it, you'll find your headlights for park and headlights, and just to the right, panel for increasing or decreasing the brightness of your panel. Let's go ahead and now move just to the opposite side of the steering column. In this location at about knee height for the operator, you'll find your OK for high idle. It's a light that illuminates. When it's OK, you can engage the high idle with the switch to the left. You can see it has a light for on and then a switch that will move down to the off position. Just up from that, you're going to find your mirror location for control. You'll find in yellow your parking brake or system parking brake. Pull to apply the brakes, push to release. You'll also find just beneath that the mirror control for the main mirrors. Let's go ahead and now look to the center of the right side of the operator. This is going to be located on the dash area. This is your Pierce Information Center. This will provide you seatbelt information, engine information, pump information, and a variety of different scroll-through menus. Very helpful location for this. Just to the downward section from that, you'll find your engine on-off for your engine brake, the high, medium, and low, your air horn, in red the siren brake, your load master, and also a protected switch for your tire chains. Once again, you'll find your system parking brake, but to the right-hand side, you'll find your Allison transmission pad with an indicator to pump in neutral. Let's go ahead and move up to the very far right here, up onto the dash area. You'll find your windshield wiper and washer. Push for washers, turn right and left for your window wiper control. Just in the front of the dash area, you'll be the location of your climate control. The gray areas for your heat and defrost, red is for heat, and the blue section is for your AC or air conditioning. You can also see a yellow cable coming out of that location. This is the control for your front bumper mounted attack turret. It's going to be a generalized view of the apparatus. The very top section will cover all of those components that are located in here. I just want to give you a general idea of where things are located. Might be helpful in assisting you locate and find where items are at. Let's start in the very front with the far left-hand side. You'll see this yellow placard. We'll talk a little bit about that yellow placard, and then we'll move all the way across the dash in the driver's area, and then we'll move to the passenger area at a later time. Let's start in the upper left-hand corner. This is the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating of your vehicle: 11 feet 3.5 inches, 31 feet 11.5 inches, and 46,500 pounds. There's also your job number located in this area. Moving just to the right, you'll find your emergency master. Same emergency master that is down at the bottom section near the start switch. Driver side, passenger side scene, driver side flood, passenger front flood, and also front flood. Located just over the operator's head, this is going to be your siren for your electronic siren, NPA. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find the traffic advisor. It is a low, off, or high. It also has left, right, split, flash, and a direction indicator just beneath that. Moving to the right, you'll find your Pierce seatbelt indicator. As you can see here in red, meaning someone is occupying the front seat. It is red, indicating there is no belt on. If it were green, that means that there is someone in the seat, it's occupied, and the belt is on. Just to the right of that, you're going to find a digital readout for your pump pressure. This is for pumping and rolling, to understand the pump pressure of your vehicle while you're pumping and rolling. To the right of that location, you'll find your water tank and also your foam indicators. In the very center, you'll find this puck-style red light. When this is illuminated, it's indicating that you have a compartment or door open and that you should not move the apparatus. Let's go ahead and move just forward of that location. This is going to be the speaker for your general, speaker for your radio dispatch. Also, you can see there is a handle hanging down. That is for your PA system, or I should say mic hanging down. Looking to the rear, you have 3 SCBA mounted seats, 1 in the center, 2 on the outer sides. The 2 outer seats are fold down seats, and they also house SCBAs built into them. Generalized view looking from the outside, this is going to be the driver's side looking in. You can see that there are 2 roll-up compartments with inside, and we'll talk about what's inside those compartments when those doors are in the open position. Once the compartment doors are open, you'll find inside this compartment an adjustable shelf. There is also LED lights inside this area, and it is exactly the same as it is on the opposite side in the passenger area. You'll see that you have 2, a right and left seat, that are slightly set back from the door. These are SCBA seats, and they are seats that fold down when sitting in them. All of the seat belts are red in color, indicating for easy visualization to make sure someone has their seat belts on. This is displayed now in its downward position. Let's go ahead and look overhead in the front section, where you'll find your headsets and the yellow attachment point to hang those headsets. This is the Firecom headset system. You can see that there are 3 headsets across the very back of all 3 of these seats, which are forward facing. Let's go ahead and look at the center area. There are 2 LED portable lights in this area, but let's talk a little bit about this long compartment door or access door here in the center at the back of the doghouse. When this is open, you'll find it has the access for oil and also for transmission checking. It is also an illuminated compartment. Located on the passenger seat, or just rear of the passenger seat, you'll find this additional map book storage or paper storage. As we move into the passenger seat, you'll find additional information on seat belts and safety warnings on the right-hand side of the door. But what I'd like to move forward and talk a little bit about is the area in front of the seat. You'll find your vehicle is equipped with SRS, which is a supplemental restraint system and airbag. There's the instructions located here. Please don't block this area as for reasons so the airbag can deploy. Let's go ahead and move up onto the dash, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the components with on the dash. But first, let's look on the left-hand side. This is going to be a foot pedal for your mechanical siren. On the right-hand side, this will be the access fill for your windshield wipers. And at the very top, you can see that warning label for your SRS airbag. Here's an image of the mechanical siren foot pedal located on the passenger seat. Left foot is on the ground area. As we move up onto the dash, you'll find you have an air horn push button and also a round or barrel style 12-volt access for accessing battery power. Just over the passenger's head, you'll find this set of rocker switches. Currently, there is only 1 switch, which is the front flood, and additional future switches if need be. On the right-hand side of that panel, you'll find your Motorola access radio for your unit radio. And congratulations, Livingston, Montana, on your new apparatus, job number 30616. If you have any questions as to the content of the information provided in this video, please contact your Hughes sales representative. Thank you and good luck with your apparatus.